Human regulations and the system of preconditions. Many people harbour the misunderstanding that by inciting craving and increasing greed, people will work harder in order to obtain consumable goods. They claim that such excess will spur the economy and lead to greater wealth for all. At first glance, this appears to be true, but these people do not see things correctly and are thus mistaken. Thinking in this way reveals a certain intelligence in engaging with craving within a system of preconditions. Yet, however skilled one is in manipulating craving, it is almost impossible that such a method of thinking will create someone like Albert Einstein. The best it can do is produce technocrats working in business economics, who may create excitement or alarm as a result of their research, which is often not of great consequence. For problems to truly be solved, people need to possess wholesome enthusiasm to match their intelligence. Take a simple example from everyday life of looking after one's physical body. One person endowed with wholesome enthusiasm, chanda, see earlier section on different kinds of desire, cares for his body, wishing for it to be strong, healthy and clean. Another person subject to craving is prone to laziness and does not normally show concern for the body. Later, when craving kicks in and he wants to appear enticing to someone else, he will try to make himself as physically attractive as possible. Which of these two forms of behavior will be more conducive to the well-being of the body? Now let us turn our attention to the system of preconditions required for engagement with craving. Earlier, a distinction between the process of wholesome desire and the process of craving was described. In the process of craving, a fixed sense of self or self-identity arises. Now we come to a second distinction. When craving acts as the motivation for action, it creates a system of preconditions that acts as the driving force for society. It is also the mechanism behind unsustainable development. When craving arises, people want to consume something. But when the object has not yet been obtained, they look for ways to acquire it. Here things do not unfold according to the process of causes and conditions, but rather they link up with a set of preconditions. People may object here and say craving is also a desire for action, but this is not so. Craving prefers idleness. Craving wishes to consume, not obtain, to acquire. But if the desired object has not yet been obtained, what can one do? Here one must accord with the stipulation. In order to get this, one must do that. One cannot obtain the desired object without acting in this particular way. This is how craving prompts activity within a system of preconditions. Here one acts not out of wholesome enthusiasm, but because the action is a prerequisite for obtaining something. As the action is not a response to a true wish to act, A person does not experience happiness. There is not a wholehearted desire to act, and so the action is accompanied by suffering. Craving only spurs action because of preconditions. If one does not act, one does not obtain the desired object, the consumption of which provides happiness. The act itself, however, is done begrudgingly, and one does not know how long one must wait in order to obtain the object to fulfill gratification. The entire waiting process is filled with suffering. The long wait in order to obtain an object of gratification produces stress. In the end, this process is unsustainable, and rather than leading to true development, it leads to stress. Unsustainable development results in a perpetual state of stress. With wholesome enthusiasm, on the other hand, one wishes to act in order to bring about improvement. One acts with the constant desire to act, and one is thus happy throughout the duration of the deed. One experiences no boredom or stress. This happiness is inherent in this process. It results directly from the existing causes and conditions. This principle applies to one's studies, one's work, indeed to all one's activities. If one acts with wholesome enthusiasm, one will find success and happiness throughout. Wholesome enthusiasm is essential. Buddha compared it to the light of the dawn. Just like the golden light of the dawn is the precursor to the rising of the sun, so too, if one is endowed with wholesome enthusiasm, it can be expected that one will flourish in spiritual training and in the Noble Eightfold Path. The dynamic of wholesome enthusiasm does not require a lengthy explanation. Because it follows a natural process according with causes and conditions, things become complicated because of an overlapping system of preconditions set up by human beings. Human beings nowadays are almost entirely dependent on a system based on preconditions. They have used their intelligence to establish conventional measures overlapping with natural laws in order to obtain results based on specific prerequisites. Natural laws, laws of conditionality, exist inherent in nature. Conventional laws are created and subscribed to by human beings in order to meet and proceed according to specific preconditions. These two overlapping laws play an important role in modern civilization. For example, an example of this pertains to the domain of work. Imagine a government complex, for example, a state university, with spacious grounds and elegant buildings. People wish for this to be a place of delight, to have fresh green lawns and parks with various species of flowering shrubs. How should one fulfill this desire? Here people use their intelligence to divide the labour and create a system of agreed upon standards. We know that trees, plants and grass thrive when they receive the proper nourishment and nutriment, including water and fertilizer. This pertains to natural causes and conditions, to fixed laws of nature. Knowing this, people then consider how they can propel or induce these natural causes and conditions. Here is where people establish an overlapping set of rules and criteria. Human laws are conventional laws, samadhi. They are agreements based on mutual knowledge and recognition. The Pali term samadhi refers to a shared understanding combined with a mutual agreement and acknowledgement. Human laws are based on mutual contracts and agreements. For example, one may hire a person for $250 a month to be a gardener in order to water and prune the plants, work the soil, remove weeds, etc., in order for the park to be a place of beauty and delight. Here, rules, i.e., a set of criteria, have been established. The work as a gardener is a precise and definite cause, producing the effect of receiving a monthly salary. The salary appears to be the clear result of working as a gardener. In fact, there are two overlapping laws at work here. One, the laws of nature. The plants will grow only if there is a sufficiency of various factors like fertilizer and water. These laws are certain and absolute. Two, human laws. These are secondary laws established to induce the various factors required for the dynamics of nature. These are conventions, regulations, or laws established to create a position of a gardener funded by a monthly salary. These human laws deal with human factors. The factors pertaining to human laws help to propel the factors inherent in nature, so that they proceed in a way that fulfills the desires of human beings. But as mentioned above, human laws are based on conventional agreements. They are not certain and definite like natural laws. They can be altered, distorted, or subject to manipulation and deceit. For example, the employer may not honor the agreement and only give the person $200 a month. If the gardener does not consent, he may need to dispute this matter or file a formal complaint. Conversely, the employee may not dedicate himself to the work and instead go off to sleep or go drinking with his friends. Come the end of the month, he demands his salary, but he has not acted in accord with the laws of nature. Here, although he receives $250 or even $300, there is no way for the plants to thrive. Of these two overlapping sets of laws, human laws are subject to distortion. People may not follow through with their promises and agreements. The result is that people get into arguments and are caught up in the stipulations attached to these conventional laws. Such human conventions can thus potentially cause all sorts of problems. They are not truly reliable. The essence of human laws does not rest with the laws themselves, but rather with people. If one wants these laws to be successful, one needs to train people to be honest. In the end, the essential factor is education. People need to learn to love the truth and to abide in honesty. Human laws are based on a system of preconditions. If one works for 1 month as a gardener, one receives $250. This appears to be a clearly defined cause and effect. But what does a closer examination reveal? Working for a month as a gardener cannot in itself produce a salary of $250. The money only comes by way of a provisio. This is an example of a provisional system or a system of preconditions. Some people will only do the work in order to fulfill the preconditions. One may do the gardening work simply to receive the salary, but in one's heart one has no desire for the plants to prosper and grow. If the gardener only desires the results of the human stipulations and is not interested in the direct results of the natural laws, He is not endowed with wholesome desire. He is not interested in the welfare of the plant. He is prompted not by wholesome enthusiasm, chanda, but by craving, tanha. He only wants the money. Craving is the driving force leading the person to act according to the terms within the agreed upon conventions. If the gardener has no true desire for the plants to flourish, he will not love his work. Rather, he will have to force himself to work. The work will thus be burdened with a sense of suffering. This is one of the vital problems for people in the present age. As civilization develops, people's suffering increases. People's work, activities, and education is beset by suffering because they are caught up in this system of preconditions. They are caught up in a system of craving.